Welcome into the room. This is Curriculum. This is the place where we do all things assisted living. This is our weekly free webinar for agents and for anyone interested in assisted living. I am Jacqueline Cato, and I am an MSW, Masters of Social Work, CEO of New Beginnings Curriculum. And I want to start today, before I even get into my story, I want to start today by just telling you a brief experience. I always want to start with an experience of what happened to me yesterday. I was in pursuit of trying to get my presentation together of what I was going to do and what I was going to include, trying to incorporate a video. And it took me about an hour just to get things set up. Still wasn't able, epic fail, getting the video loaded into the presentation mode. And finally decided to get some help, called on my son, who was able, of course, because he is technically savvy, he was able to get it done in probably 15 or 20 minutes. Lesson learned. What I will say to you today is you will get there faster with help. Mentorship, coaching, and wisdom. You will get wherever you're going in life right now faster if you just get some help. And that's just asking for help. That's just engaging yourself with someone who has a better understanding of where you want to go and how to get you there faster. So that was my lesson learned this week, and the week isn't over. I remember 20 years ago, I was newly licensed, I was freshly divorced, I was going to the grocery store, and I had very limited cash in my purse. I remember telling my boys to go get pizza while I figured out how to pay for the groceries. And I remember saying to myself, I'll never be broke another day in my life. That was my bottom. And I meant it. I wasn't sure how I was going to get there. I didn't have an actual plan, but I knew I had enough motivation to figure it out. So from that point, I met an agent who agreed to mentor me because I had a client who said they wanted to buy a care home. And I was thinking, great, but I don't know how to sell it to you. And I met an agent who had a listing that he was interested in, and she agreed to mentor me. And I rolled up my sleeves. The market was very saturated at that time. And I ended up just falling under her and learning everything, committing myself to learning everything I could about assisted living. And fast forward 20 years, and I'm still here. I've been in this space for about 20 years. I'm adjusting my computer here. I've been in this space for about 20 years consistently. And I don't plan to go anywhere. So I want to give you 3 quick advantages of specializing in assisted living. Number 1, not many agents or brokers know the business. So this field of assisted living, listing and selling facilities, even owning care homes, it's wide open. It's not crowded. So when you see, I was just talking to someone who said, we were talking about FSBOs, we were talking about door knocking and cold calling. I do none of that. I don't do open houses. So this field is wide open when it comes to assisted living facilities and learning how to list and sell them. That means more facilities for you to list. People are living longer and going into care facilities, and more are opening up all the time and getting their license. So there are plenty of opportunities and properties and businesses for you to list and sell. You just got to learn the business. Number 2, there's no viable instruction. There's nothing out there when it comes to getting information on how to list and sell care facilities. What do I do? Where do I start? How do I get trained? How long does it take? I'm going to answer all of those questions today. Agents who knew the business, this is number 3, would not teach other agents as they sense they would become their competition, of course. So there are agents who are really well versed in this area, but they won't teach you how to do it. So you're here in this space. This is a learning space. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little surprise today. We're going to actually view a tour of a care facility. This is a care facility that is, when I sold it to him, it was not licensed, but it was empty. It was built for a care facility. The owner built it. It was vacant for a couple of years. She never got it licensed and just walked away and said, I want to sell it and move to Florida and retire. She was a nurse. So we're going to actually get to view an actual facility. So it takes away the myth of what are these facilities? What do they look like? What do they offer? And we're just going to do a quick tour of a care facility so you can kind of get some insight. And then we're going to talk about it afterwards. Are you guys with me? Are you excited? Because this is good stuff. So let's do the tour so you can kind of get a sense of what a care home looks like. And once the presentation is completed, it's only 5 minutes. We're going to come in and talk about the facility, and you're going to be able to ask questions. Is that fair enough? Let's go. Welcome to Curriculum. It's your girl, Jacqueline Cato, MSW broker and CEO of Curriculum, where we do all things assisted living. For those of you who have never been on the inside of an assisted living facility, well, that's what we are going to do today. Quick background on this property. This is an almost 6,000 square foot property that sits on over an acre of land. When the current owners purchased it, it was already set up for semi-private rooms that could hold a capacity of 12 residents. It was not licensed. The owner built it from the ground. It sat empty for a number of years until I secured the purchase for my client, the buyers. It is currently licensed for 6, but the owners are in the process of getting the zoning changed to accommodate a capacity of 12 to 14 residents. I recommend new owners begin with a smaller facility licensed for 6 so that you are afforded the opportunity to learn the business operations first before venturing to a larger facility that requires more oversight, staffing, and regulations. There will be opportunities where you can negotiate with the seller to possibly work out seller financing terms, which will cost you considerably less in loan fees, down payment, and closing costs. We were able to close this transaction in 17 days. This facility closed at close to $3 million, but for the average 6-bed facility in Northern California, you're normally looking at a range between $800,000 and $1.5 million. First and foremost, if you are in pursuit of purchasing an assisted living facility or looking at representing a potential buyer as an agent, you want to make sure that the property has a pre-licensing inspection by the fire marshal prior to closing a sale. You want to make sure that either you as a buyer or your client that you represent as an agent does their due diligence before signing on the dotted line at close of escrow. Now let's get started with this tour. I'm excited to show it to you. Let's go. So let's go in. It's the entryway, focus center for hotels, families, professionals. This is therapy, in this room. This is the bathroom area. It's beautiful. Walk in, you always want to make sure you get a shower that has access where you can roll a wheelchair in for safety. So let's move over to the room. This room is in transition, but I wanted to show you the normal size of the room. This would be a single or a double room, so it could be used for 1 or 2 persons. And the bonus. All of the bedrooms in this facility have its own private exit. So you can see right here, we're going to scan that so you can see their own private patio areas where families can visit. And it's a private setting. That's a bonus, bonus, bonus. One bedroom, one bath, where you can have your staff stay on the premises and your caregiver. Excellent, excellent idea. You can also see here, all of the rooms have their own private HVAC systems. And this home is completely on solar. Let's go in now and take a quick peek at the kitchen. They have the beautiful amenities of having a kitchen and it's pretty. See you later. All right, we're back. So what did you guys think? Put some comments in the chat. What do you think? So that's an actual facility. I sold it to my clients for 2.75 million. One transaction. It closed in 17 days. The seller owned the building outright and agreed to do financing, seller financing. So the sellers did not have to go through the bank to get financing. And they were able to close in 17 and a half days. We were closed from start to finish, done. I got my check. It was a very good check. And I moved on to the next transaction. So that's how easy and simple it is. This is not anything medical. You don't need to know any medical terminology. This is not for physicians. This is for just regular lay people, agents who want to, you already know how to sell the real property because you're already doing it. So even if you're a brand new agent, this applies to you. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I got to know medical terminology in healthcare. No, you don't. Anybody can list and sell care facilities. You just have to learn how to do it. And it doesn't take long to get started. So don't think this is going to be a 3-month process. That's not what we're doing. You can learn how to list and sell care facilities just by going through the listing mini course that's coming up soon. You can get on the wait list for. That's a 2.5-hour course where we're just going to focus on listing care facilities. So 3 things that I look for when I'm walking through a facility as an agent. 3 things I look for. I normally will pull up the licensing, state licensing record, meaning the licensing record of the department that licensed the care facility. I want to see what kind of rating that the facility has, meaning do they have any citations? That's really all I'm looking for. So that's public information. So you can go put in their address for the facility. Say, for instance, someone calls you and say, I want you to list my care home. You can go into the state licensing website and see their record from the date that they were licensed. So I always want to see what I'm working with. Number 2, I always ask the seller regarding any illegal or non-city permitted add-ons. So I get a lot of clients, some, not a lot, but I get some clients who have converted space in the facility, meaning they've converted a garage and made it a caregiver's room. So then they can use all the other bedrooms for residents, and then they can use part of the garage that was converted into space for the staff. So I'm always asking those questions. Do you guys have any space that has been converted without city permits, because that's something as an agent you have to disclose. And it's something as a seller you want to make sure they disclose, okay? So, and then bedrooms, just because they call it a bedroom doesn't mean it's a bedroom. What's defined as a bedroom is that there's a closet in there, even if it's a portable closet that you can buy from Home Depot. It has to have a closet in there. So I've seen owners convert different spaces like a loft area, or instead of having a living room and dining room, they'll convert the dining room into another space, into a bedroom. So again, we want to make sure either it has a permit or it doesn't, and that we know about it and it's disclosed in writing to any potential buyer. Bathrooms, you're of course looking for ADA stuff. That's anything for wheelchairs and walkers, grab bars. Normally that's what licensing is looking for when they license the facility. And you're looking for ramps on the outside and access to ramps on the that take you to the exterior of the property. You're looking at exit doors. So anything like that, those are things that I'm just kind of looking at when I'm walking through the facility for the first time. Number 4, there is an actual facility checklist. So I have an actual checklist that I use when I'm walking through a facility for the first time, just so I don't miss anything in terms of what should and should not be present when I'm viewing the facility. And that checklist is something that I'm going to be providing you at no cost when you do the elect to do the 2-day course. I have a mini course and a 2-day course that we'll talk about later. Any questions so far? How did you like the tour? Was it informative? Do you have any questions about what you saw? And normally when I'm touring facilities, well, not necessarily touring facilities, when you're in a facility, normally you want to make sure you're not recording any residents. I don't record residents. When I send a professional photographer to take pictures doing before I list the property, I make sure there's no residents in those photos, period. Normally there's no people in the photos, no residents or staff in any of the photos, just for confidentiality purposes. Okay. So let me look in the chat here. Any questions about what you saw? Yeah, that is a very nice facility. And I'll tell you, we stumbled on that facility, and I'll take those words back. I believe it was destined for them to buy it. They had 3 smaller facilities, and they were ready to do something on a larger scale. And you're going to find clients like that. Some clients go straight to purchasing something on a larger scale because they have partners who may have been in the business and they can get their expertise. So you got to be ready. So when those clients come your way, I'm going to be able to coach you on what you're saying, what you're not saying. And, you're not putting yourself in a position where you're over promising and under delivering. Okay. That you can give them more than what they're anticipating. How do we see if there's any facilities in your town? Look up assisted living facilities in your town. Just put in your Google, put in assisted living facilities, Dallas, Texas. Assisted living facilities, New York, and it'll pull up a list of facilities. So facilities are public information. That's how people find them, to be able to put loved ones inside of them and place them there. So this is all public information. You should be able to get it by just putting that into, that's a great question, by putting that into Google. You'll be able to see, and then you'll be able to put in state licensing department. So it'll show you like state licensing department for elderly care facilities, for instance, and you'll be able to see state licensing department and be able to pull up facilities inside of there. That's the entity that licensed care facilities, assisted living facilities. And they are in every state. They're in every county. So they do exist. There's tons of them out there. So you'll be able to see. Somebody pull some up for me. Are you able to see any facilities? Haley, were you able to find them? Yes, perfect. Tanika, did you find them? Perfect. This is how easy it is. So this is not a secret. This is not, classified information. You will be able to, then I will teach you how to target facilities in your area. I cover 9 counties of my area. So I get facility listings all the time. So I brought in my scope. I don't just cover, my city. I cover 9 different counties. Normally, I will drive no more than hour and a half away from where I live. Now, I do cover facilities in Southern California where I will fly, and it's only an hour flight to list the facility in that area. So it depends on what you want to do, what your choice is, but you're going to have so many facilities to list that should be close to where you reside. So people are going to, your response you're going to get from owners is, great, I didn't even know you were here. So let's go. I'm ready. So any other questions? Did I miss any questions, Cynthia?
Yes, Haley had another question. Is there a certain term for these smaller ones, like the one you toured?
What do you mean term? Haley, unmute yourself and tell me what you mean by term.
Sorry, is it like a care home? I'm just not sure if we have anything small like that. I think all that we have is like apartments and whatnot.
There's care homes there. Assisted living is for people who can no longer live independently.
Okay.
So it may not be called assisted living. Like in Nevada, they're called personal care homes. And in Hawaii, they're called group care homes. So in different states, they call them something different, but they're all the same. They're assisted living.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, so every county has them. Okay. So it's normally for people who can no longer live alone. Sometimes like families will spend like tons of money keeping a loved one at home in their own personal residence. And 24-hour care at home with a personal caregiver is very expensive because you got 24-hour round-the-clock care with one person. So they're normally charging you anywhere between $18 to $25 to $30 an hour. So imagine what the cost is for 24-hour care. So that's where care homes come in. It's dramatically cheaper. So the average care home just in California, Northern California alone, will run about $2,500 on up. So that's a fraction of what you're going to pay for in-home 24-hour care. So that's where care homes come in, if that makes sense. So look for the terminology, but even if you put in assisted living or personal care home or group care home, it's going to fall, or adult care home. It may fall under one of those titles, but it's the same thing. Any other questions?
Not at this time. No more questions.
Okay. So what I want you to know is dreams can come true in this business. So don't give up on real estate. You've worked really, really hard to get your license. And you just need direction. You just need some direction. You need some mentorship. You need some coaching. You need information. The only thing that drives me is getting more information. I'm always honing in my craft, even after 20 years. I want to be better. I want to, I want to stay relevant, if that makes a difference. So, and it does. So skill set plus timing equals increased wealth. So you're in the right place at the right time, getting the right information, just like I was 20 years ago when I met the agent who knew how to do this already. Now you got to get the skill set part down. So this is just one of the many reviews that I've received from clients. It was a husband and wife couple. They had owned several facilities. I believe they owned 4 at that time. And they reached out to me and said, hey, I'm looking at selling my care homes. Well, I thought when I was going out there to view the facility, I was only selling 1. They were selling 3 of them at the same time. So I was like, okay. And it was the first time I had ever done a multiple sale. So I had to be ready. I had to have my gate. They were like, are you ready? Can you handle this? And you're going, oh yeah, I got it. I got it. And I had been selling individually facilities, but I had never sold multiple facilities going on the market all at one time. So you're doing 3 different listing agreements. You got 3 different set of inspections going on. I mean, just, multiple, whatever you're doing with one, do it times 3 or 4 or 5. I have a client right now that reached out to me. They own 8 facilities. 8 facilities. The commission on 8 of those facilities is close to $550,000. So on average, most care home owners own at least 2. They own at least 2. And sometimes they may not sell them both at the same time. Sometimes they will sell one, see how that sale went. Because sometimes I'll say, when I feel the hesitancy, I'll say, why don't we just do the first one? You breathe, tell me how it feels to just have one, and let me know if you're ready to sell the second one. And normally they'll say, you know what, we're done. We just needed to get this the first time to see what it was going to feel like. Go ahead and put the other one on the market. And I get clients who say, let's just do both of them at one time. So that will not be unusual for you to get 2 listings at one time. My average listing in California is anywhere between 800,000 and $1.3 million. That's my average listing. I just took another one 3 days ago. It was $1.2 million. I have another one seller who reached out to me yesterday. That one is 800,000 for the property and the business. So I'm working. I probably have about 10 or 12 care facilities on the market, but we will talk about how to market, where to market, and who to market to, how often to market. This will be all covered in the 2-day course. The 2-day course covers everything. So let's just kind of dive into that. It covers all of the things I just mentioned, on top of what is my role as if I'm representing a buyer? What is my role if I'm representing a seller? And I mean from pre-list, from the first conversation to inspections, to marketing the facility, on down to closing escrow. So I cover everything. What kind of software do I use to track and to control my listings in terms of where I put all of my disclosures, all of that information? Some of you may already be connected with software, but I talk about what I use in terms of the care home business. So I want to give you everything. I want to walk you through the process. Now, if you're just interested in how do I get listings, there's a mini master course, listing course, that I'm also establishing a wait list for. It's already happening, the wait list. So those are in your chat right now. Cynthia's going to put them back in just to refresh, but those are in the chat. So you can get on the wait list for those. And we will be only contacting those on the wait list for the course. So if you're not on the wait list, you will not be in the course. So those are the two courses that will be offered. The mini master course for listing facilities and the 2-day course. And the 2-day course is not 2 full days. I cannot do 2 full days. We're doing 2 half days starting at 10 a.m. All of my courses start at 10 a.m. All of my webinars start at 10 a.m. Pacific time, California time. So I'm going to also be incorporating more tours so you guys can just really get comfortable with care facilities. And I'm also going to be incorporating interviews with sellers that I have represented. So you can kind of get an idea of how they think. So how are they perceiving you when you come out for a listing appointment? And it doesn't matter whether or not you've sold any care homes. A lot of real estate is common sense, right? It's not, I mean, there's the legal part, there's the ethics. The rest is common sense. There are just certain things I don't do or say. So, and then when it comes to care facilities, because you're dealing with clients, when you're normally selling facilities, I sell facilities empty, and meaning no clients, and I sell facilities that are full. So either way, with full, you want to make sure you are keeping confidentiality with the clientele. You're not filming with clients in the facility. You're making sure when you're setting up appointments, clients in terms of potential buyers are not just showing up at a facility saying, I want a tour. I will teach you what I've instructed my sellers to say. It's happened, but I will teach you what I've instructed my sellers to say, which in turn will be what you instruct your sellers that you represent to say, because we want to keep people safe, right? So I want to see if there's any other questions. But that's just a review. That lets you into a mindset of also what the seller was looking for when they chose me. I spent sometimes hours with my clients just answering questions, putting their mind at ease about what the process is. And I'll be able to share that process with you guys in terms of, I'm going to give you a script that says, this is what my process is. This is how I do my listings. This is how I conduct my listings. This is what you can expect from me. Because my biggest question for you is, what does a seller or buyer get when they hire you? What do they get when they hire you? So for assisted living, I'll be able to tell you a script. I'll give you a script that says you get the following when you hire me. This, and they'll go, oh, 98%, I will say, of my listings are already, my sellers are all ready to sign the listing agreement after talking to me over the phone before I even show up. They're ready to sign the listing agreement. So that lets you know the comfort zone that you have to establish with them. Just like in residential, but this is heightened a little bit because this care home facilities are considered commercial sales. You don't, in California, you don't need a commercial license to sell care facilities. You just got to have an active, in good standing real estate license. You don't even need to be a broker. You got to have a broker if you're an agent, but you don't need to be a broker. I am a broker. I worked under a brokerage for 2 years when I first got licensed. He knew nothing about care facilities at all. And he supervised me on the real estate part, but he didn't know anything about care homes. I stayed with him for 2 years, which is what's required in California as an agent. And then I went out on my own. So I've been on my own since 2008, I believe, in the big girl pool. So I want to put you in a position where we are not having conversations about how dry the market is, how high the interest rates are, how crowded the pool is. Because that's the conversations. I mean, if you look on any real estate group right now, these are the same conversations that everyone is having. I want to put you in a different position where you're busy. That's the whole goal. Where you're busy. You're either busy with listing or you're busy with helping buyers, or like me, you're busy with both. Right? So how many of you are ready to be in that position? How many of you are ready to get to work? It's time to get to work. Put it in the chat for me.
Jacqueline, Aisha had a question. You could answer.
Go for it. Go for it. Unmute yourself.
Sorry.
Aisha.
Sorry. I was wanting to know, so I'm an agent and I'm under a broker. Do I have to have a conversation with my broker regarding this niche and my desire to specialize in this particular area?
I would. I mean, your broker is the person who's supervising you. They're responsible for your behavior in the marketplace. So you want to make sure, and I did with my broker when I signed on, I said, hey, I want to list and sell care facilities. He said, okay, what does that mean? That's okay. I said, I have somebody who's mentoring me, and do I have your blessing to do that? And he said, sure. He said, I don't quite understand what you're doing, but I will give you as much supervision as I can. And that's what we did for 2 years. And case in point, you or as a point, you need to make sure your broker has business opportunities on their E&O insurance, because this is a business. You're selling a business along with the property. Okay, so your question to your broker is, hi, I'm going to get into the care home business because the rest of the market is very dry and I'm ready to make some real money. So I'm inquiring to find out, do you have business opportunities on your E&O insurance? And I would ask the question in writing so that your broker responds to you in writing. So you're not completing a transaction and then finding out your broker doesn't have business opportunities insurance. So ask the question in writing by email. Okay, so you're clear that they have, we call it biz ops, which is business opportunities, on their coverage. So that's definitely what you would want to do. Does that answer your question, Aisha?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? You guys are doing great, actually. Determining listing. Yeah, I see the, thank you. Tanika, I see your question. Determining listing price is a little bit more complicated than this webinar. And that's something that I cover definitely in the 2-day course. I teach you how I determine value on the business portion. The residential portion is pretty easy. You can pull comps. If it's a regular residential property, even if it's commercial, you can pull up commercial comps in the area and view and figure out if it's a larger building, I would say. What, bringing in some rough comps. Third option is sellers can get a commercial appraisal done if it's a larger building. So they're not leaving money on the table. But we talk about that extensively in the 2-day course. So I cannot do that today. It's going to be a little bit more extensive than the time that we have, but it's a great question. Any other questions? You're welcome. You're welcome, Tanika. This was a picture of an assisted living conference, and that's how I set up my vendor booth. When I go to there are tons of assisted living conferences. I do probably about 4 a year. And when I go to those spaces, the majority of the time, I'm the only realtor, agent, broker that specializes in care homes in that space. So one of the conferences that I went to this year, I was the only broker in that space. I walked away from that 2-day conference. I was probably there a day and a half with 13 potential referrals to list their care facilities. And when I mean assisted living conferences, these are conferences where the owners of the facilities go to get their continuing education. So they got to do that every 2 years. So I show up in that space, and then you got people who do medical supplies. You got people who do anything that connects you with a care facility or a larger assisted living facility. They're in this space. So I show up in this space and it's like, oh yeah, we've been thinking about selling our care home, but we haven't met any realtors who do this. And now you're here in this space. Yeah, hi. What can I do for you? So I show up in this space. I have my banner. I have everything ready to go. And the last one I was in, I got 13 referrals. 4 of them are already listed. 2 of them are 1.1 million. The others are like 800,000. Where else can you go and just show up in that space? Because you now have a skill set and you're in demand. You stand out. This is what this is all about. I'm trying to take you and get you out of that crowded pool and pull you out, and people will notice you because of your skill set. So we will no longer have those conversations about how do I stand out? Do I do 500 door knocks? First of all, I'm not knocking on anybody's door in this climate because it's not safe. I don't think it's safe. People still do it, but I don't think it's safe. Number 2, in this particular skill set, there's no door knocking involved. There's no door knocking. I don't do any cold calling. I will teach you how I get my clientele to respond. So, and a lot of the work we know in real estate to be successful is about consistency. Consistency with posting online, letting people know you're there. You can no longer be a secret. So you can't be a secret. But if I'm looking at 30 posts from all of my friends who are realtors, why would I pick you? Why would I choose you? So again, my game is all about standing out. Everything that I'm teaching you now, it's replicable. That means you can do it. So it's not something that you cannot repeat. Everything is about rinse and repeat. So my question to you is, are you ready? Are you ready to go to the next level? Are you ready to do something different? Because if what you're doing now is not working, you need to think about doing something different, right? So this is one of the spaces that you can be in. Is this space for everyone? No, it's not. But it is for people who are ready to move. That's what I will say. This is an opportunity. Just like the person presented me with an opportunity 20 years ago and said, hey, I'll teach you if you want to learn. I'm like, hey, I got limited cash in my account. I have 2 small kids. And the market was very, very, it was moving very fast, and it was very saturated with agents. So I had to do something to put food on the table, to pay my bills. And so let me tell you my journey of where I've gone. I've gone from living there in that space to thriving, where some of my commission checks are 6 figures alone. So the struggle is over. So you can go from where you are now to where I am, and probably beyond. Who's to say? So that's the space that I'm in, because I can only speak from my truth. This was something that I wrote down that I'm just going to share with you. Quitting is a mindset, right? But so is winning. So it depends on what mindset that you have. So quitting is a mindset, but so is winning. Winning is my mindset. It's my mindset. Put that in the chat. Winning is my mindset. This is my mindset. I am determined to win. And winning is not about how much money you can get. Winning is about using your gifts to its capacity. That's what winning is about. Because there are people who have tons of money who feel like a failure. So winning is about using your gifts to their capacity. That's what winning is about. Using your God-given gifts to its capacity. That's it. That's how I would define winning. You guys have been great. Okay, before we bounce out of this room, I always do this, or I tend to do it very often. I need you to visualize, where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 6 months in terms of how much money you want to acquire? Moving into this mindset, put it in the chat. Is it 50,000? Is it 100,000? Put it in the chat for me. Because the first thing you need to do is be able to acknowledge it and see it. So I have notes all over my house. I have goals written down. I have them in my car. I want to get to X amount of dollars in the next 12 months, 6 months, 3 months. So put it in the chat. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. 250,000. Yes. Yes, it's possible. It's possible. Put it in the chat for me. I'm waiting for you, Aisha. I see you. Put it in the chat for me. Where do you see yourself in 6 months? What kind of money do you want to make? And don't be afraid. Dollar amounts are just numbers on a piece of paper. So don't be afraid of goals. Don't be afraid of your goals. Don't be afraid to write it down. 100,000 in 3 months. It's possible. You can clear 100,000 in one check. I've had it happen. I've had it happen. And let me tell you what I started saying out loud. I have it on my mirror, on a Post-it. I was declaring that my yearly salary would become my monthly salary. My yearly salary would become my monthly salary. That's possible. Cynthia, put that in the chat for me. My yearly salary would become my monthly salary. It's possible, you guys. Your yearly salary can become your monthly salary. Yes, yes, and yes. Yes. Your yearly salary will become your monthly salary. Yes, I have seen it happen. It's happened to me already. So I know it can happen for you. So I'm not reading something out of a book, that it's possible. And I don't care what market we are in right now. This is true. You just got to lock into a skill set. Once you guys learn a skill set, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit of what you can make. Last thing, tell me what states you guys are in. Let me see where you're calling from. I know there's people on here from Texas. What states are you guys in? Missouri, Texas, Connecticut. Yes, yes, yes. Texas, more people from Texas. Yes, you guys, lock in. Lock in. That's what I can tell you. This is not an overnight process. This is not a get rich quick scheme. Time frame wise, I can get you ready once you've completed the course. Within 30 days of completing the course, you should be ready to list facilities, period. You should be ready to list facilities. So what I highly suggest is that you get on one of these wait lists. I do the weekly webinars for free. There is no cost to any agent who gets on this call. They're free. the 2 courses that are being offered, if you are serious about wanting to learn how to become a listing machine, that's my specialty. I list all day long because the person who lists the facility controls the money. So you want to make sure you're in a position of listing care homes. So I will teach you how to list. I will teach you how to negotiate commissions with sellers. I will teach you how to market, where to market, who to market to. This 2.5 hours is all about listing care facilities. I'm just going to pump the knowledge in. I'm just going to get you moving. I'm going to give you listing agent scripts, and we're just going to hit it for 2.5 hours. The first 2 hours will be nothing but instruction. The last 30 minutes, probably last 45 minutes, will be nothing but questions. We're going to do Q&A. So I can make sure that you're aware of how this process works. What do you need to do first? What do you need to do second? What do you need to do third? It's not going to be 12 steps. This is going to be basic information, and I'm going to teach it to you as if you know nothing about assisted living. You already got the real estate piece down. So that's part 1. Part 2 is teach me the assisted living part, and I'm ready to start listing care homes. And I guarantee you they're going to come. They're going to come. The sellers are selling right now, care facilities. So it's different from sellers in residential that are holding off because if they sell their home, they have nowhere to go because the interest rates are so high. These are income generating businesses. So sellers are still selling care facilities. I'm listing them all the time. So I want to teach you how to list them in your state so you become a listing machine. That's course number 1. That's 2.5 hours. So the links are in the chat. So get on the waiting list. For those of you who are on Facebook, the links, I believe, are in the post. So you will be able to sign up for the wait list. If not, I will put them in there when we're done. The other course is the 2-day course. The 2-day course is, we've broken it down into 4 payments if you need them, or 1 payment. And that will be everything in terms of how to list, how to market. It's 6 modules over 2 days. So we're going to do 3 modules day 1, 3 modules day 2. Day 1, we're going to cover types of facilities you will list. And it's normally at least 2. That's going to be the 2 that you're going to list the most, which are adult and elderly care facilities. How to market them, how to open up a care home, because I got tons of people sliding into my DMs saying, I just want to learn how to open up a care facility. I want to make that stream of income. Care homes on average in California, they gross anywhere between, these are the smaller 6 beds, they gross anywhere between 15,000 a month on up to the highest I've seen for a 6 bed is somewhere between 45 and 50,000 a month. That's 6 clients in a 6-bed facility. I have a friend who has a facility in Southern California. He charges $11,000 per client. He has 6 clients. $11,000 per client. He has 6 clients. So it's a very, very strong stream of income. I used to own 2 assisted living facilities myself. You can buy them already existing. So that's another option. You can buy care homes that are ready to go, that are already existing. So you don't have to start from scratch. So the 2 ways to acquire a care home is to start it up from scratch or to buy it existing. So we're going to cover all of that in the 2-day course. Listing agent and buyer agent roles, business disclosures, and how to close escrow, which is the most important thing. You're going to learn how to close an escrow. So it's the A to Z, 2-day course. Within 30 days of you getting on, you should be ready to go. You should be armed and ready to go. So we're going to do that in the 2-day course. So for those of you agents who want everything, like I just want to hit it, I want to know what I need to know, because I guarantee you when you start listing, you're going to start getting buyers. The buyers will see your listings out there and say, hey, I'm interested in the facility you got listed, and my realtor doesn't understand how to sell me a care facility. Can you help me? So now you've only taken the listing course, but you don't know how to help a buyer. So in states that allow you to work in a dual capacity and represent the buyer and the seller, you're going to need to know how to represent your buyer. So I do both. Probably somewhere around 95% of my transactions, I represent the buyer and the seller. That's how small the pool is. So if the buyer is comfortable with it, I make them sign a buyer broker agreement. I don't represent any clients who didn't sign. I commit everything to you, and I need you to commit to working exclusively with me. So you're not going to get all of my expertise and information and then go use your realtor who doesn't know anything about care homes. You can do that, but I require that my buyers who want me to represent them sign a buyer broker agreement. That's good business practices. Okay, so that is my presentation today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys put in the chat for me, was this helpful? Was this information helpful? Are you ready? I mean, are you ready to take the next level in your real estate game? I'm looking for some feedback in the chat. Give it to me. How long is the wait list? I haven't even looked at it in the last week, but it's being established. There are agents who are not even coming on the webinars who are signing up on the wait list. They're already ready to go. They're tired of being in this dry market. The 2-day course is posted right there on the screen, right there. So I have, Haley, it's posted. Can you, if you can still see my screen. So the 2-day course is posted there, and the 2-day course is broken down into 4 payments for people who need it. Some people have already suggested that they don't. They can just afford to pay for it, but there are people who need to get moving, so they're, making money. So yes, there's the 2-day course and their wait list, and there's the 2.5-hour listing mini master course. Once the lists are full, we're taking only 250 agents in there. So once the lists are full, we're cutting it off. And we are then going to put people in another class once another class will be offered. So get in the class, you guys. Timing in life is everything. Life is about timing and opportunity. So this is it. I'm not going to hard sell it to you. I'm going to let you make up your own mind. And if there's no other questions, do you guys have any other questions before we depart? Did you guys hit the share button for me? Make sure you hit the share button on there. If you are looking at me on Facebook Live, make sure you hit the share button for me. If you do, there's going to be a gift coming in your email. So in your DM. So make sure you hit the share button for me. If there's nothing else, I will see you guys next week. Same time, same channel. I will see you guys next. Yes, I love it. I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Remember, this is the place where we do all things assisted living. If you guys have any personal questions regarding the webinar or just your move of what you want to do next, feel free to DM me. I do respond. I get quite a bit of them, but I do respond. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I will see you next Wednesday, and take care.